All aboard and welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Animation Station. I'm Brandon T. McClure. And wait, what are we doing here? Didn't we do all the Digimon movies?
I think so.
Digimon Adventure Try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6. What the hell are we doing here? What are we doing here? What's happening?
Well, I think there was like one more. Last Adventure Kizuna? Or
that
Last
is
Evolution?
Correct. That is correct, Ben. Yes, we are in fact back to talk about the 7th Digimon Adventure film, which is Digimon Adventure, The Last Evolution Kizuna. I am Brandon T. McClure, as I already said. With me, as always, on the digital journey is Ben Magnet. How are you, sir?
I am doing great. Ready to talk some Digimon.
I am too, Ben, because let me tell you, this movie's better than all the Try films.
Holy crap baskets. Yes, it is.
Before we get into it, by the way, full spoilers. I don't know if I've been saying this. This is the 7th movie now at this point. Full spoilers. You know what you're in for. Again, we're doing this. We're doing the dub. We're doing the Shout Factory release. So if you came here for the subtitled version or the original Japanese language one, you're going to be sorely mistaken. You know the score at this point. Now, Ben, before we get into plot stuff, I think it was incredibly striking for them to just retcon Digimon Adventure Try completely.
I feel like a lot of the Digimon film, just hardcore, just straight up like retcon that whole thing. Just
those films do not matter to this movie at all.
Not in the it's weird because you would think, especially with the Try films, you would think that they would like try to have some sort of connection, some sort of thread to Last Evolution Kizuna. And the fact that they have like the tiniest little connecting thread to it being that you say Mei Kumon, and that's the only bit. And it's like,
I mean, the only thing that you probably would need is the only thing that you probably need from Digimon Adventure Try is, I wouldn't even say you need to know who Mako is, because like it's such a throwaway line that you're not even going to, you might miss it if you don't watch Try. But I think maybe like the Digimon are in the real world now with their partners. That might be relevant to this movie because, in Try we do see them come back. And we also know there's a few there's probably only one character thread in this whole movie that is relevant from Try, and I'm kind of bummed it's not a bigger part of this movie, and it's Sora.
Yeah.
Because I don't get the decision to so we learned pretty early, pretty late in the movie that Sora has already lost Biyomon. Like she says, I don't want to fight I don't want to fight. I just want to spend time with you. And we learn later that the reason why is because the thing that is happening to Matt and Tai has already happened to Sora, and she's lost Biyomon.
Yeah, like you see, I love how it's very subtle. You see her decayed Digivice.
Yes,
like straight up saying like this is what's going to happen to Matt and Tai.
And I wish that was more in the movie. It feels like a cut subplot, and I guess if you have Try, it does kind of like you do see the evolution of the Digivolution, if you will. You see like Sora's arc from what is it, Loss, to this. I guess you can kind of see that through line, but ultimately most of the storylines that were in Try don't matter for this movie, and it kind of makes Try feel useless, especially because it's frankly not that good.
It makes Try feel like not to put a pun. Try tried, and then they lost their way. Like when we were talking about Digimon Adventure Try, like halfway point, like after the reboot, that's where things went all downhill. Like that was the linchpin where you had a decent story going, you had a decent thing moving along, you had some good side characters, you had a decent side plot, and then the second the reboot happened, everything just went off the rails completely, and stuff went and I feel that with Last Evolution Kizuna, they really was like, okay, we screwed up this bad of a Try. Let's do this really cool plot line that was somewhat mentioned but never explored, and they have a really good villain. They have a really good antagonist who the whole time I watched this movie, I thought that should have been Nishijima. Or not Nishijima, that should have been Himikawa.
Yes, 100%. I said the same thing. I was watching this and I was like, this is Himikawa.
Yeah.
This is what Himikawa should have been for Try. This is the story, because like a lot of Last Evolution Kizuna does retread what Try already did, like the idea of them growing up and growing apart, the main character being a character who'd already lost her Digimon. Like the circumstances are different for what's her name?
Oh shoot, I did not write her name down.
It's an M. It's an M name. I'm pretty sure it's an M name.
I'll look it up. You keep talking. I'll look it up.
Well, like it's just kind of interesting that like the circumstances are different for her to have lost her Digimon, because she was so eager to grow up that she didn't realize that she would eventually lose her Digimon. You know, we see her memories. She kind of sees like, oh, I want to grow up. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to be older, and because of that hastens she loses her Digimon way earlier than most anybody should. And so and she is on a warpath to get it back. And I'm like, this is Himikawa's plotline. This should have been Himikawa's plotline. One of my biggest issues with Try is that Himikawa isn't part of the plot as when she gets to the digital world. Her whole storyline happen to the characters, of Digimon Adventure Try. The characters that we know. It doesn't matter what she's doing.
Yep, and
she serves no purpose.
And her name is Manoa Bellucci.
Manoa, thank you. I'm trying to find a different name also, because there's another name that showed up. Anyway, that's sick. Anyway, Digimon, dude. Okay, so the beginning of this movie is kind of a back to basics. Parrotmon has shown up in Tokyo. Parrotmon.
I even write down, I was like, Parrotmon again? Because
love Parrotmon.
I won't lie. This movie has some good callbacks. They brought back the original style of the Digivolution. Like, the data comes out of the Digivice, and it's
I noticed that too. It looked very good, and you see the spinning comes back, and you even see when Greymon digivolves to War Greymon, it's the same animation from that season 2. Very good stuff.
I'm not I won't lie. I'm not the biggest fan of the cell phone Digivice, so I'm glad they still have their original Digivice.
I kind of understand that too. I don't love it. I get it, because we're now in the age of smartphones. There's 17 years. Someone said there's 17 years until the prologue of 02, and prologue of 02 is 2028. So 17 years from that, it's 2000. Oh, math isn't never my strong suit. What is that? 17 years minus 2028.
No clue.
I have a calculator right in front of me. Look at that. Look at that. Why don't I just use that? 2028. Someone's screaming at the screen right now. It's this. This is this number.
Yeah.
2011. So it's 2011. This movie is set in.
Definitely set in the world of smartphones are around.
So smartphones are here. I'm trying to figure out. Sorry, there's a new, like, full spoilers. There's a new evolution line that we see in this movie, and I'm just trying to figure out what the name is. I don't think it's actually this. I don't think. Who the fuck is Victory Greymon? It's not that. I don't know. Okay, anyway. We'll figure that out when we get to the end of the movie. So we get some nice callbacks to Parrotmon and Greymon fighting again. I thought what was interesting is how many callbacks there were to the Digimon movie. Obviously, we've talked about it before. We have a bastardized version of 3 different movies that appeared in America, but we do get callbacks to I think in the originally they were just called Digimon Adventure, which is the one where Tai and Kari are kids.
Where Agumon first shows up in the digital world, and then Parrotmon comes in and starts wreaking havoc.
Yeah, it's kind of a kaiju film because Agumon is way bigger than he's ever been. And I think it's our Hurricane Touchdown, which is the Diaboromon episode, which we do also get a reference to when they're going to fight Eosmon with the screens. I thought that was clever and cute. This was an interesting, like, this felt like an interesting like love letter to Digimon, at least in the beginning, because it does kind of swerve into this kind of story of, well, he kind of thought this was one thing. This is like, oh, this is, look how fun Digimon, guys, we're digi-destined, we're fighting. Oh, what happened to Omnimon? Oh, what's happening now? And I like the moment. Go ahead.
Oh, Jedi's not a total creep anymore?
Oh, that's way later, and I have so much to say about that. But what's really interesting is when they're fighting Eosmon, and like they got it. Like Omnimon's killing Eosmon. There's no question. Like there's no way they don't win. And then something happens. A ring appears around Matt and Ty's Digivices. There's a timer, a countdown to when the Digimon will disappear. And I like the moment where TK and Izzy both look at the Digivices like, oh, do we have a 2? And they're like, okay, no, I'm okay. And Matt, because we hadn't seen Matt had it, we knew that Agumon had it, that Ty had it. But then Matt looks at his and he's like, God damn it. Like, I really like the rage. Like, this isn't fair. We have to do something about this. There's no way I'm letting this happen. It's a really good scene. And again, kind of goes back to, we're going to compare a lot about Try. I'm sorry. I don't mean to. But like,
I feel like we have to, because the Try films came out, and the Try and Last Evolution Kizuna came out so close to each other that we have to compare the two. And the whole time I'm watching Last Evolution Kizuna, I'm like, this is what Try should have been.
Yeah, because like you look at Ty and Matt's arc here, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same as the first Try movie.
Definitely, like they're all grown up. At least they're not in like in middle school or high school or whatever school they're in, but they're in college. They're in college. They're drinking. It's so weird to see them drink beer together.
It's so weird to see them drink. It's so weird to see that. I have a note about that because they're drinking beer, too. And I'm like, and like Ty has his own apartment with like porn magazines, and I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah, this is like for the second Agumon's like, what are these? He holds up the nudie mags, and Ty's like, ah.
I find it very interesting. I wonder how long Ty's been there, because they don't the Agumon hadn't been there yet. Where's Agumon been?
I don't know. I think Agumon has either been at Ty's house with Kari and Gatomon.
Probably with Izzy.
Or with Izzy, yeah.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about Matt's new voice?
I don't hate it. I mean, I
kind of like it.
I got used to Vic Mignoya's, or however you say his last name, in Try.
I really love that you said Vic Mignoya and not Vic Mignogna.
Okay.
I doesn't deserve to pronounce his name right.
I got used to his voice, and then when I heard it as just like a throwaway character in Kizuna, I'm like, okay, you're still here, but I'm okay with Ty's or Matt's new voice. I do like, she's not in the movie a whole lot because I know the original voice actor, she sadly passed away.
Yes.
I do like Mimi. I like how she keeps the spirit of the original voice actress.
It's a good Mimi, and it helps that it's not in the movie a lot.
Yeah. I want to get some, I don't want to say complaints, but I guess a few criticisms out of the way with Last Evolution Kizuna that I had when I was watching the film.
I want to keep it on the voice acting though.
Okay, yeah.
Because I want to just kind of run through like all the returning cast is great. Obviously, Izzy, Ty, all the Digimon return. Sora. Oh, actually, Christopher Swindle, I think, is Hawkmon.
Oh yeah,
I think that's the show. That friend of the show, Christopher Swindle, is Hawkmon, which is kind of nice. Yul Lee, I think, is the original voice actress. I couldn't tell.
Definitely Ken.
Ken is 100% the original voice actor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Davis's voice. Davis and Cody are the only two of the new voice actors that I don't like outright.
Kari's fine. TK's fine.
Well, Kari was the same from the last one, and
right.
I actually think TK might be the original voice actor.
Like original?
I think so. Like from 02. I don't know for sure. I've seen that guy's face a lot, and maybe I'm wrong.
Well, good for him. Neat. what was I was gonna say something else too.
But Matt, I actually do like him.
Yeah.
He's not my favorite Matt is obviously the original.
Hmm.
I'm glad he's coming back for the new dubs for the movies. Um, but I find his voice works, like his cadence works better for Vic Mignogna. Vic Mignogna, he's an anime voice actor through and through. He works as like a Dragon Ball character or like a Jujutsu Kaisen character. Like whenever it pops up in Funimation, like or Crunchyroll, like you're like, oh yeah, that fits for you. But like Matt is a very subdued character, and not really a character that Vic Mignogna is capable of. I don't think it's not within his voice acting repertoire.
Hmm.
Um, I struggled with him a lot in Digimon Adventure Try. So I was happy that they recast him, and I do quite like this new voice.
Right. And of course, Joshua Seth
He kills it.
killing.
He kills it.
Yeah, Josh and Tom Pham as Agumon kills it.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, you have other complaints. Let's go to some of your other complaints.
I know now. I 100% realize that this whole movie is focused on Matt and Tai. I get it.
Yes.
I understand it. And we're only getting one. It's not like the Try films where we are able to explore the relationships and the nuances of the other digi-destined. Otherwise, we'd be here forever again.
Yes, we would.
I understand that. It just would have been, I don't know where to fit it. It's mostly, this is just more of a nitpick and more of a like, I would have liked a little bit more of a.
Oh, I was wrong about TK. It's not the original voice actor. You were right.
Oh, darn.
Sorry,
But as I was saying, I would have liked a little bit more subplot from the other Digidestined instead of quick little vignettes of them of what they were doing, like Mimi's fashion design, Joe studying to be a doctor, Izzy being the president of his own company. While all this is like really good, like we get to see what the Digidestined are up to. I would have liked to see the original cast do more instead of just Agumon and Gabumon fighting, and like we don't see any other Digivolutions at all besides those two.
Well, we do at the end.
Oh yeah, like XVmon and Stingmon. But,
well, no, we see the original Digidestined digivolve into the champion levels.
Right, we do.
But I kind of understand what you're saying. I do I get it, but I think this film is really strong. Like I feel like this film is really tight, and it's really like there just isn't room for the other Digidestined.
Oh no, that's the thing. It's like it's not really a complaint. It's more of a nitpick because I would have liked to see other stuff of the Digidestined, but then looking at this film as a whole, and since we're only getting the one film, it's like you did what you could, and with the limited real estate you can, I still think this film delivers a lot more than all the Try films combined.
Right, especially because like we get such an interesting catharsis with the characters at the end of the film when we see them in their original forms. Like, it's weird to say, but like when they're kids, when they're back in the digital world. Real quickly, by the way, I didn't say who this movie is directed by. It's directed by Tomohiro Taguchi, written by Akatsuki Yamatoya. I forgot to mention that. Let's move into let's talk about Tai and Matt, because they're the focus of this film, and they're the I think Izzy and TK get the most outside of them, which is weird because I actually don't think Kari gets a lot to do.
No.
But Izzy gets a lot to do, which I quite like. Izzy's a great character, I think. And I one of the things that I'm curious about is why did this happen to Tai and Matt and not anyone else? Because they talk about it how everyone knows what they want to do in their lives except for Tai and Matt. They're like, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that. They're kind of waffling.
Yeah.
Izzy, as you said, is the president of a company. Mimi is making Amazon, basically. Joe is a doctor. Like everyone.
Oh no, you froze. Brandon, come back.
Am I back?
I think so.
We're back. So everyone else knows what they want to do with their life, but none of them, including Joe, and this is the one that confused me the most because Joe is the oldest. This doesn't happen to them, but it does happen to Tai and Matt, and I don't understand the movie doesn't make it clear why this is happening specifically to those two and not to the other Digidestined who arguably are in better places in their life.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that I'm confused about this movie. That's the thing that kind of hurts this movie. The only thing for me is that the movie isn't clear as to why this is only happening to Ty and Matt, who are in a place of transition where everyone else is basically like, yeah, I know what I want to do.
I feel that it does eventually. I mean, it eventually does happen to the original Digidestined because we all see them essentially as adults doing their lives. Like like this really cool. Like what I also enjoy is for Ty. Well, Ty is in school. He has this very small little subplot of he doesn't know what his collegiate thesis is about.
Mhm.
Like that's it's a small little very small part of of a larger scene. And then I really love how it all comes together and how because he's still very much like, this is all I know how to do is just be a Digidestined and fight with my Digimon.
Oh, the end of the credits showing his thesis being about Digimon. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. I feel that with the other characters, because they eventually do go through, like we see Joe, we see Mimi, we see them without their, like Sora, of course, she's like, I just want to be with Biyomon. Then after
We
Biyomon,
know that it's happening to Sora. We find that out later on in the movie.
I
I that yeah,
I
go ahead.
I feel that the other Digidestined accepted it and they're just like, we're just gonna move on. We had a great run and we're gonna continue on with our lives. And like not forget about them, obviously, but it's just like they're more accepting to it, whereas Matt and Ty are the ones like, no, I can't let this happen. They're
Sure.
about to go down the path that Manoa did, because one of the reasons why this is happening to them is that they're reaching their full potential. And I kind of really like that about how it's kind of retconning Digimon as your Digimon partner is there not only to help, like there's this great symbiotic relationship between human and Digimon, whereas the human helps the Digimon grow stronger and fight to protect not only the digital world but the real world, but the Digimon is also there to help their partner realize their full potential, which is why when Jedi is talking to Matt and Ty is like, unless you got some unreleased potential stored away, this is going to happen. And when Manoa reached her full potential as like a 14-year-old child, that's why it was more
Yeah.
traumatizing to her. And that's why it put her on the path to try and get her Digimon back. And of course,
Hmm.
goes down to this whole rabbit hole of her not accepting it, but at the same time, you kind of feel bad for her because she lost her Digimon partner as a small child, whereas Ty and Matt and everyone and all the other Digimon and the original Digidestined, minus TK and Kari, they're full grown adults. They have their own lives.
Yeah, I think that the thing that only the only thing that confuses me is that mm, I guess maybe we don't know that it wasn't happening to Mimi and Joe specifically.
Hmm.
We know it wasn't happening to TK to
Right.
Izzy because we see he looks at his Digivice and it's not happening.
Hmm.
Um, I guess because he is younger, he is the youngest outside of TK and Kari.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. The other thing I wish the Sora stuff was just more explicit.
Yeah.
It's I think there's room. And look, I'm gonna say this. I'm sound really hypocritical right now. I think the two kids get too much to do.
They do get a lot.
I realize how that sounds, considering all throughout Try, I've been bitching about where the hell they were,
Yeah, yeah. And then
and
here they
we get
are.
them, we get them. They're here, and it's great. I'm glad they're here. I love them. I think they get a little too much to do. I think they take away from the original kids.
It's weird because in the Digimon Adventure Try, I was hoping, like, and especially in the future when they're like, we found Davis and everyone else. I'm like, cool. Can they show up and join the final battle? That'd be cool. And they don't. It's just their silhouettes and the name drop, and that's it.
Yeah,
Whereas in this one, I'm glad to see them. I'm glad they're part of the plot because I feel like because I feel that the O2 kids definitely want to help the original or like our original Digidestined. And I don't know if I 100% agree with the fact that they're given too much to do. I don't know. It's weird to think about the O2 kids because every time they're on screen, I was like, "Yay, the O2 kids!" And I'm just like you said earlier, I'm not the biggest fan of Davis's new voice actor, but just the fact that I can see them again, it just makes me happy because as much as I love the original Digimon, I also fell in love with the O2 kids.
What the? Sorry, I'm just looking at I've been looking all episode for what the names of those Digimon were at the end of this movie that Agumon and Gabumon digivolved to.
I have some thoughts about that, by the way.
They're just called Agumon Bond of Bravery and Gabumon Bond of Friendship. That's their forms. That's funny. That's really funny. Anyway, we'll talk about it. Anyway, so I think I really like their inclusion. Like I don't want to get the wrong idea. I love that they're here. And I like the way that they use kind of figuring out who girl's name. What the hell?
Minoa.
We just looked at Minoa. Thank you. What Minoa is actually trying to do, although the movie tries to do a bait and switch.
Mm-hmm.
It's to be like, oh, the dude is the bad guy, but like it's the girl. It's the girl.
The second she walked in, you just look at her and go, sus.
Especially when she shows up after TK when Izzy finds Eosmon and she like walks in like he found Eosmon and you're just kind of like, what you doing here?
Or
that's a good scene, by the way.
It is like also like when she has her butterfly thing. It's like,
yeah.
It's like
I want to like real quickly highlight the scene between her and Izzy when they're in, and he's like holding his Digivice behind him, and he's like just talking to her like, so this is all you. You've been the one doing this. You've been taking the consciousness and like figured it out. And she's like, yeah. And then Eosmont like shows up in the like that's a really good scene.
Like the second she turns around and her eyes go like anime villain style.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's a good moment. I really like it.
I really like her as a villain.
Me too.
I like once again, she should have been Himekawa in Try. Like looking back at like I know we can't constantly go back to the Try films, and we mentioned this earlier. We're gonna keep comparing the two. We can't help it because they're so close together.
Mm-hmm.
But Himekawa was such wasted potential. And Himekawa would have been like the perfect antagonistic force for like King Drazel or whatever. Just like looking back.
Yeah. By the way, that was useless.
Yeah, King Drazel was freaking useless.
You're right. This came out real quickly. This came out 2 years after Digimon Adventure Tri Future. So you're right. They are so close together.
Yeah, and just seeing Minoa go full Himekawa and be the main antagonistic force. Like she created Eosmon, this man-made Digimon. I'm just thinking like this should have been some form of Himekawa trying to get Tapier Mom back. Like her whole I miss my partner Digimon. And not only that, the way I think even like the way Minoa lost her Digimon was even more impactful because she didn't have Genai there to help her out. She didn't have anyone else. She was part of an earlier generation of digi-destined that we're still trying to figure out, like, what do? We don't know what's going on.
Well, isn't she part of their generation still? Because she's not that much older than Tai.
Right. No, or maybe she was, but the thing is, she hit her potential so much sooner.
Yeah, she lost her Digimon way earlier.
Yeah, it's not like Tai and everyone else where they're like in their 20s or they're in their early 20s going to bars, which still weird to think about.
Still weird.
I know. But with her, that was traumatizing because she just comes home from school one day saying that I'm going to reach this. And she sees her partner Digimon just completely fade away, and she doesn't have any guidance.
Yeah, and it's meant to be like what's so telling is that she in her memory she doesn't hear what Morphomon what Morphomon says. It's not in her memory. She doesn't hear the words that Morphomon says to her. But if she kind of like didn't look at that trauma, then it's not meant to be a final goodbye. It's meant to be a letting go. And that's what I think this movie does really well that I've talked about before. one of my issues with Try is how quickly they reach their mega levels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I kind of wish we saw a few of them here.
Yeah, me too.
And I do like the designs. And I like so like I always, the Digivolutions were always meant to be stages in our characters' growths. Every time that the Digimon reaches a new form, that means that our main character has reached a new point in their own growth, and and the megas kind of lose that. Even though they're still trying to be that, like with Mimi and Joe specifically, which is why Determination is the best one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I find it so interesting that in this movie they really just like really lay that in thick. Like this is what, yes, you were right. The Digivolutions were meant to be stages in their growth. And what happens when you're not growing anymore? What happens when you reach your full potential? There's no more places for Agumon to digivolve. There's no more places for Beomon to digivolve. They've reached their maximum potential, which means our main characters have too. What does
Mm-hmm.
that mean? And I like that. I think that's a really good thematic through line to have in this film.
100%.
That they do find a new evolution stage.
Can we talk about that real quick?
Do you really want to go? Do you really want to skip to the end? You feel like it really looks like you do. So why don't we do it? Why don't? So we'll put a pin in where we are right now.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
come back to some other things. We'll talk about some other things, but let's talk about specifically the final Digivolutions that Agumon and Gabumon reach at the end of this film.
I hate them.
Really?
I do not like their designs at all.
Why?
I don't know why. It's just looking at Omnimon, War Greymon, Metal Garurumon. I just like you had such cool looking Digimon, and then that. I guess I'm just like so used to like when Digimon digivolve, it's much more flashy, it's much more anime-esque, and just to have them like look like buff like bodybuilders with like a little mask and a human face. I don't know. It's just I was hoping for more War Greymon stuff and maybe some Metal Garurumon aesthetics, but I just do not like those designs at all.
I'll tell you what I wish we had gotten with these designs, because I don't dislike them. I think they're fine. Especially, I mean, look, I'm a fan of Greymon, so like, I would have loved to see War Greymon again, or even Omnimon reaches Merciful Mode again.
Mhm.
We just saw at the end of Try. Try is very heavily based on the card game, which is so weird. But but I kind of wish. Remember, you never watched Tamers. At the end, I'm gonna spoil Tamers real quickly. One of Guillomon's Digivolutions is a fusion between him and Tagato, his
Digimon
his
partner?
partner, his Digimon partner. They fuse together and they become a different Digimon, which became the whole basis for Digimon Frontiers, because Digimon Frontiers is all about they are the Digimon. That's 4 kids and they become the Digimon. I would have liked these Digivolutions better if these were fusions with their digital partners.
Yeah.
Because that design works better if there's actually a person that they have fused with.
Mhm. I think I
In
would
my
have
opinion.
I would like that more because just that having Ty and Matt on their shoulders and those just I guess I just don't like the designs.
Yeah.
I don't know. I Yeah, like when I first saw them, I'm just like, oh.
I don't dislike the designs. I kind of like them. I also am just a sucker for like whenever like the digi-destined are on the shoulder of the Digimon, they're also like punching through, and I'm like, yeah, you're not doing anything, but I love it.
Yeah. I mean, when they first did that with Omnimon, I was like, that's really cool.
Oh, Omnimon gets some really cool Digivolutions in this movie.
Mhm.
I love the like the twirling, and then we just see the faces and then just forms Omnimon down.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Omnimon's rad.
Omnimon is really cool. Yeah, I don't dislike the friendship modes. What are they called? What are they called again? What did I say they're called? I have
Bond,
bond.
brave.
Bond of bravery and bond of friendship modes. I don't dislike them. I think they're kind of cool. But I get what you're saying. They're not the most inventive designs that
Mhm.
we've seen as far as Digimon go.
Yeah. I mean, that's just my 2 cents about it. I mean, the message behind it is really powerful. Like, their
Yeah,
last Digivolution, like, their last time where they're going full on, full out to beat Eosmon and Manoa, I like the intent. It's just the
yeah.
design I'm not the biggest fan of, but once again, that's a me thing. I can get off this hill. Um, Rewinding back throughout the movie, um
I want to talk about the moment. I want to kind of work, but I want to talk about a different moment, which is what's her name?
Manoa?
Manoa. I think I'm so terrible with names. This is not. I really like this character. This is not a criticism of the character. I'm just really bad with names. Manoa. I really like when she is sending all the Aosmon to get all the Digimon, the digi-destined. There's a lot of new digi-destined that we see in this moment, but there's some callbacks to some that we saw in O2, which is kind of nice.
Mhm.
And I really like seeing the O2 kids kind of get in there in the fight, mostly because I'm a sucker for XVmon. I think
Yeah,
XVmon is a really cool Digimon.
he is.
And I get to see him do his thing, and he does his power, and I'm like, yeah, baby, XVmon. I think those are really cool. I'm glad they had those. I'm glad that the O2 kids are here because we get to see them actually fight with their champion level Digimon and really like get into this and like do something about these Eosmon and not become comatose, which is what the O1 kids,
Mhm.
all the O1 kids end up being, which is a shame.
It is.
And but it is kind of sweet when we see them all as kids with their Digimon in these places and these kind of like stasis units that they're there for. Um, and I love the moment when they're trying to stop Ty and Matt from beating Eosmon, and
Yeah.
they're just stopping him, and the thing was to blow the whistle, and
Oh,
my God, my friend, when he blew the whistle as hard as he could, and it just flashes to the first ever movie, I'm like, oh fuck, like it's really fucking good. I don't mean to curse. We're a PG-13 episode. It's just really got me. Um, and I'm just thinking to myself like that's a really solid moment, and that's the thing that gets these kids out of this weird trance that they're in, and we see them again, and they're like, "Oh, what are we doing here?" It's a really sweet moment. It's a really good moment.
oh, no.
This
I
movie's good.
I wanna talk about that moment too because the whistle was a great callback, and what I do love about Last Evolution Kizuna is that they play the callbacks subtly, or not subtly, but when they do play major callback moments like the whistle,
Mhm.
it's done in a way that is not like, "Hey, remember this moment?" It's done in a way that it's like, "Look how far they've come." Like, when Tai first blows the whistle when to help Agumon fight Paramon to digivolve into Greymon for the first time, and then and he's blowing the whistle again to knock all the kids out of their trance. It's much more impactful. And the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, "This is the Digimon movie that I wanted to see after in Try. This is what I
Yeah.
wanted. This is what." And
The fights are really cool in this one too.
the fights are really cool. The fights in Try were fine, but I mean,
But
there
the
were
fights in
some.
Fi in Try are pretty good too, but these ones are, like they're really well choreographed, they're really well animated. Also, by the way, animation in this movie is really good.
Oh, 100%, like stellar animation.
Yeah.
But when this movie takes like major plot points and they, or not major plot points, but it takes like callbacks, is like, it's not like trying to play for cheap. Hey, remember this moment back in the day? Let's get those nostalgia feelings. It's impactful. It gives the viewer, especially a viewer who's watched those versions of the Digimon movie, who has been with these kids for so long. It's a powerful form of nostalgia that means something,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
not
I
just
agree.
and it's not just like a cheap cash grab, or it's not just a cheap gag or whatever. And what I also, and also just like, just seeing, and also I'm just really glad because one of the things that really bummed me out about Try is that they do have like little flashbacks of the kids in their original like costumes and what they looked like, but it's grayed out. You can't see their faces really well. It's not like they won't fully commit to it. Whereas in this one, like when we see Joe and all the kids in their original costumes, minus Ty and Matt, it was like, it was impactful
Impactful. Yeah.
because now we're watching these movies, it's like they're grown up, they're adults, and to see them as kids again, it's like, you know what? If I was in their shoes, and if I was in, and like if I was a digi-destined and Manoa came up to me and said, "Hey, I have a way for you to be a kid again. You can stay with your Digimon partner for all time. You never have to say goodbye." I would. That's a pretty enticing deal. I probably would fall for it.
And I really like that it's Ty who has to come to a sense and be like, we have to grow up. We can't just be here forever. This isn't living. We have to grow up. We have to do this. We can't fall for this lie. And because he's the one who's been like fighting this like idea that he's going to lose Digimon the most. And so like, and what's that girl's name again? Manoa, thank you. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's right there. Manoa, I'm gonna write that down. Hold on. Manoa. All right. And so she and so she kind of can't understand why Ty and Matt don't want to do this. And I really love that it's Gabumon and Agumon that like when they're starting to think like maybe we should do this, like this is better, right? Agumon and Gabumon are like, no, we loved being with you. We loved watching you grow. Don't take that away from us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a sweet thing of like Agumon, by the way, is better written in this movie than he is in Try.
So much better.
So much better written. And he's like, we loved watching you grow up. This was the joy of our lives was being here with you and watching you grow. And we wouldn't want that taken away from us for anything. And it's them who really like, you know, they have one notch left and they're like, if we do this, it's over. We're done. We'll never see you again. And it's like, that's life. And it's really sad and it's a really rough ending. And you're just like, Jesus. I love that. That's one of the reasons, like, I really like the sequence, the Digivolution sequence when they're like raising up and they're like, this is it. This is the end. We're done. This is our Hail Mary. If this doesn't work, then we're over.
The last evolution, and of course, to make sense of why this movie is called Last Evolution Kizuna, and of course, Kizuna, in translated from Japanese to English, means bond.
Which you just looked up recently and told me about that. Which, like, it makes sense, and especially with the Digivolutions that happen at the end of this movie, the bond of bravery and the bond of friendship. Yeah, that makes this. It makes a lot of sense. It's very thematically rich. This movie, it's thematically what's the word I'm looking for? It's not rich. It's
ties,
consistent.
Because there we go.
It's very thematically consistent, which is something that Try isn't. This is a much tighter film than any of the Try films. It's thematically consistent. It works really well. It works on almost every level, whereas the Try films falter a lot. They have some big ideas, and I love them for that, but they don't execute those big ideas very well. This one is just straight simple. Like this is not reinventing the wheel. This isn't doing anything different. It is just trying to get thematic story across in a good way, and I think it does. I really like this movie. I just think that like, it's not as funny. I don't think it's as funny as the Try films.
No,
the Try films have some pretty good humor, and this one doesn't really. Although there's a great scene when it's Poromon and what's Gabumon's in training form?
Sunamon.
When Tentomon and Patamon are feeding them, just shoveling cheeseburgers into their mouths. That was very funny.
And then all of a sudden they're back as Agumon and Gabumon again.
Yeah, I thought that was cute. Let's talk about Jedi.
He's in this movie for a very hot second, but he's back as
again. Try who? Because like what because like at the end of Try, it's like, oh yeah, we killed King Drazel and blah blah blah, but there's really no sense of like what's going to happen to Jedi, and Jedi is like, oh, maybe I'll come back and be a villain again. And then he shows up and is, I'm Jedi, and I'm like, I guess. All right. You're
Like,
good now.
I'm at it's like like Ty seems like, oh hey, Master Jedi, and it's like, he's just not a creepy and evil old man anymore. Thank goodness for that. And he offers like his sage wisdom is like, hey, that timer means
It's a good
you're
scene.
it's a very good scene that explains what the timer is about, and it's a good scene that it's like essentially Jedi is I don't want to call Jedi like the messenger of dark. He's not a messenger of darkness. That's a bad way to put it. He's
Yeah.
just a messenger. He's like, look, this is what's
I
gonna
like the scene
happen.
I like the scene especially when there's like, why didn't anyone tell this was possible? And he was like, it's the same reason why no one talks about death.
Mm,
It's too hard. And like I really like how they frame that, and I really like that scene. I
mhm.
like Jedi a lot, and like I don't care for how he was interpreted for Try. So I was happy to have this scene with him. It's just so weird. And then the when they're like, Makumon over there, they're over there doing that thing. Especially because like, isn't the whole point that your Digimon, if your Digimon is already lost, like it can't be put in this world. So
Yeah.
Mekumon is dead.
Mhm.
So how is Mako and Mekumon there already?
I don't know. It's just one of those things like, but did like make Kumon like not survive the Try films? That's why May moved away?
It's such a weird. It feels like a bone to anybody who like, hey, Try was relevant,
Or
and
like
like
Try it's like Try was relevant, parts of Try were relevant, and then it's like, hey, so you know that like the major things that that we did and Try, don't worry about that. Just but
well,
this character care about her.
what was so interesting about this is that this film was developed in the middle of Try. Like Try was airing, and this movie was being developed because Try was very popular. And they realized that well, the 20th anniversary of Digimon Adventure is coming up. We've got Try going. The Digimon Adventure kids are the most popular version of Digimon. Let's make a movie to celebrate the 20th anniversary. That's what Last Evolution Kizuna is. It's the 20th anniversary film. So it's really interesting to me that this isn't an apology for Try
Mhm.
because there's no way they could have known as they
Right.
were developing this how Try was going to go. So like it's not like hey, we're sorry about Try. Not that you should, not that this should be that. It's just
Mhm.
so interesting how little this film cares about Try and is not an apology for it. It's
Right.
it's it seems to be almost on accident that this film just doesn't give a shit about Try.
Mhm.
Um, well, that's
And
fine. I guess I could get rid of Try.
and even though like you said, because this film was in the middle of development during the Try films, this nails so much the theme of the villain and the theme of you're losing your Digimon.
Yeah.
It just nails that theme to a like a perfect 10, honestly.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm like, I care about the characters, and also I feel for the villain. I like how Minowa started on her villain path and she became the bad guy. And it wasn't out of just, oh, we just need a bad guy. Keen Driesel, yeah, let's just use him. And oh, we have all these other characters. Let's just start them off strong, but then just kind of like leave them to the wayside.
Yeah.
And like even like one of the biggest complaints I have about the Tri films is that Himekawa doesn't have like a like I was even confused. It's like, is she dead? Is she not dead? What happened to her? And you're
Oh
like, oh
yeah,
no,
she
she
did.
died. It's like, oh no, she dead. It's like, but it's not explained. It's not. You don't see her go through her arc. You see her reunite with Tapir Mom, and Tapir Mom rejects her, but then she goes full crazy. But there's nothing after that except the scene of her in the Black Ocean. Whereas in
I
this one, you see, and whereas in Last Evolution Kazuna, you see the villain arc form and why she is so hell bent on making sure no other Digidestined feels the pain she had to feel.
I will say that there is a surprisingly worrying trope that propped up between this and Try, that is about like women going crazy. Um,
Oh, okay.
it I've like I didn't really think about it at the time. I've just kind of thought about it. And I hope that's not a trend. Like, I
Oh,
hope it's not like a thing that's going to keep popping up because it's a little concerning if it does.
yeah.
Um, I think it's done well here, and I think it's done poorly in Try. But that is interesting to think about. Like I wonder how more socially conscious people
Hmm.
who are not me probably would see that.
Right.
Anyway, well, Ben, I don't have a lot more to say.
I the only thing the other bit I have to say is that when Agumon asks Tai what he's going to do tomorrow, and then Tai and I love how we don't see Agumon disappear.
It's just the two butterflies fly away.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love how Matt and Gabumon don't see them vanish. I just love how calm it is.
Yeah.
I love how it's a great moment. Like when Tai and Agumon
It's
or
a really
when
sweet moment when Agumon looks up at him and says, "I just didn't think about how much you've grown."
Mhm.
And Ty's like, "And can we get ice cream?" "Sure, yeah, we like mango ice cream." It's just such a sweet moment. The dialogue is really sweet. It's such a quiet moment. You're absolutely right. Like it's a great way to end this film. It's a really bittersweet moment, but it they land it. They nail it.
It thinking about this film and the fact that there are time oh, I had a thought. I had a really good thought and a really good parallel. Okay, I think I got it now. I'm just
Mhm.
trying to like make the words make sense, you know?
Yeah, I get you.
Um it kind watching this film made me realize and made me reflect on the friendships and the connections I've made throughout my entire life
Sure.
and how some friends I am still in contact with to this day. There are people even though I don't talk to them every day or I don't talk to them as much as I would like to. It's just that we're all adults, we're all busy. But then there are also the friendships where I've kind of lost contact with people whom I we just went our separate ways and it's nothing there's no malice behind it. There was just no it's just they went one direction, I went the other direction. And
Yeah.
unfortunately our paths didn't cross. I mean, sometimes they might, but I look back on those friendships that I even know that I don't want to call them lost friendships. I would say that as a bummer as it is that I don't really talk to this person or I haven't talked to this person in X amount of time, I'm still thankful that I met them. And I kind of feel that that's what Ty and Matt have went through. Whereas even though they won't be able to talk to their Digimon partners anymore, they wouldn't trade their time together with them for the world. They
Yeah.
straight up says like we have to grow up, and in a very I guess convoluted way, it's just a part of life that there you will have these friends who you feel that we're gonna fight together, we're gonna be together forever, and then something happens with where you can't control it at all, but you might have to go your separate ways, and that's okay
Sure.
as long as you have those memories of them, as long as they're still in your heart in a way that they will always be meaningful to you. And I think
Yeah.
that's another really I don't know if that's just me grasping at straws trying to find deeper themes in this film.
No, you're not. That's the theme of this film. I think you're absolutely correct. That there's no grasping here. That is what this film is saying. I think this film is very explicit in that. I think it's very beautifully put.
Thank you. But yeah,
Um,
I just love how quiet of a moment it was. And yes, I mean you can't be sad. It's okay. Also, why I want to say how great how what this movie does really well is that it's okay to be sad
yeah,
about lost friendships. And it's okay to be sad about lost relationships. Like Ty and Matt, they both start bawling when they turn around, they see their partner's gone. And yes, it's a sad thing. But then the next scene, it's like they're moving on, like seeing Ty's thesis about how humans and Digimon could coexist. I'm like, yeah, go Ty, you got this.
yeah, I agree. I don't want to follow that up because that was really well put. Thank you. I
Thank you.
will say I will only say that supposedly the epilogue to Digimon Adventure 02 is still canon. And I'd really like to see how.
Oh yeah, you mean where Tai is a ambassador to the United Nations for the digital world?
And Agumon is with him.
That would be pretty. Oh, I mean, I'm still kind of hoping that him and Sora get together, but I know that in like the original show, it was Sora and Matt who started dating.
Yeah, it should have always been Tai and Sora.
It should have always been Ty and Sora. I still hope I still ship them hardcore, kind of like
Me
TK
too.
and Kari. I ship them. I mean, Yoli and Ken getting together, I'm totally fine with that. I love those two together.
Do you want to rate it?
I would definitely give this a solid 9.
Yeah, me too. It's solid. It's a solid 9 for me too.
Solid 9. It reaches the themes of Digimon. It has a much better villain. It has a much better cohesive storyline from start to finish, and the themes are there. They are explicit, but they are not dumbed down. It makes you think about it, and it is a much better ending than Future, because oh my goodness, that ending in Future where I thought it was like this thing, it was just like you set stuff up for more. You're not giving me more. Whereas this one's like, this is an ending.
Yeah,
And I love it that this is like this. We are done.
Well, they're not, because Digimon Adventure 02, the
okay.
beginning is just around the corner, Ben.
It like the original digi-destined have had their story.
Yeah.
Moving on to the new kids.
Speaking of, by the way, the original voice actor for Davis is returning for the dub that I'm going to go see. I have tickets for it on November 8th, baby.
I wish I could go, but I can't.
Me too. Well, hopefully it'll be on DVD soon enough and you can buy it.
Then I can. And we'll be back here talking about Digimon Adventure 02, the beginning. I'm
excited. All right, so that's that, guys. That's it. That's the last Digimon movie for a while. Whenever 02 comes to an available marketplace for us to be able to buy it and watch it and review it for you, we will do that. So stay tuned for that. Probably sometime in November or December. We'll see.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, December's kind of busy for us anyway, so maybe it won't even happen until January. Maybe we won't even be here in January. All right, anyway, that's it, guys. Check it out. Check out plenty of other things on this channel if you like this video and subscribe to this channel. And of course, you want to check out www.fakenerdpodcast.com for all the latest news in the FakeNerd podcast world. Tons of shows that you can check out, tons of things if you like Digimon. Maybe you like some other things that we like too. You can check out plenty of Basement Arcades. It's Spooktober right now, guys. It's spooky time. We're scaring the poop out of Ben.
Hey, we scared you last episode. Or one of the episodes that came out this week.
That's true. Tall Poppy is there where I get scared too. Ben is playing through Dead Space. There's a lot of Basement Arcade Spooktobers for you guys to check out if you are interested in that sort of thing. But otherwise, just check out our website at FakeNerdPodcast.com for all the updates and where you can find all the shows, things like that. And you can also find our TeePublic and our Patreon, which are also linked below, if you'd like to support us financially. On the socials, we're Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at FakeNerd Podcast. I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter, where you can also find me writing for I almost said Old School Gamer Magazine. Where you can also find me writing for AtomicGeekdom.com. Ben, where can people find you?
Well, they can find me at BenMagnet27, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads. You could also find me writing for Old School Gamer Magazine, because I do write for them. You can also find me writing for Fusion Gaming Magazine, GoNintendo.com, and also playing Mary Frankenstein in D&Dark, which at the time of this recording, we just came out with a brand new episode this week. So go check that out.
I'm so mad at you. You're going into a bi-weekly format. How dare you?
It's easier.
I know. That's why Conversation is bi-weekly. I get it.
Yeah.
I like your show. I want to listen to it all the time.
Did you listen to the latest episode?
I'm almost done with it. It's very good.
Make sure you wait to the very end too.
Of course. Well, that's going to be it, guys. So, of course, like this video, subscribe to this channel, subscribe on all the podcatchers of choice, rate and review wherever you get us. Greatly appreciate it. Until next time you see us, guys, we are now departing the station. Choo-choo. Choo-choo. What was the last thing I said?
Shoot, I can't remember. I just know you're.
Ben, you're too tired for this. Am my picture still?
It's not as clear, but at least it's moving.
Can you see my hand move?
Yeah, I can see your hand move.
My hand is in my face now.
Yes.
My hand is not in my face.
Yeah.
Good.